You're listening to Bellwethers Podcast with Mathews Joseph.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Bellwethers Podcast. And today we have someone very special, Bonny Andrews, the CEO and founder of LiveJam, a global movement that is spanning from Asia to the Americas. It started in 2005 in a village in Trivandrum, in a small city school in Trivandrum, which is now actually a movement that has been spread out to countries. And he's also the executive producer of the New York Blessing that was released recently during the pandemic. So he's been in New York for the last almost 1 year, and we're going to hear a lot more about him, a lot of his stories. And I'm going to tell you, it's more than this. This is the least I could tell about him, but there's a lot more that you are going to know about him, and you're going to know how much of a person Bonny Andrews is, and how his vision and his dream is actually influencing the youth and all those people around him. So welcome, Bonny Andrews, to the Bellwethers Podcast.
Matthew, what an honor to be on the show. This is amazing. Thank you for sharing that story. I keep telling people you can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can never count the number of apples that'll come out of a seed. And look at what God has done in your life, from a place you were depressed to be a guy that is hosting a podcast that is spreading the message of hope to millions and thousands of people around the world. Come on. God bless you. I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's my honor to have you over here, and it's so much joy. And I was like, there was a lot of issues in between, so I was like figuring out who to get on the first episode. So almost a month and a half back, so I actually got the idea, let's take Bonny Andrews. So I thought big. So what if someone who changed my life? What if I actually bring him on the inaugural session of my podcast? And I was like, oh, that's going to be really legendary. And yes, thank you so much for being here, and in the midst of your busy schedules, in the midst of your tight schedules and everything, you still freed us some time for this podcast, and I am so happy and I am so thrilled for this session. So are you ready?
Come on, bring it on, bro. Come on.
All right. So yeah, like I was telling the story about LiveJam. So here is this one. So from 2005 to 2020, LiveJam has merged from what was just a small gathering in the city of Trivandrum to a global movement that's from Asia now to the Americas. So now you're in New York, and from Delhi, from Trivandrum to Delhi, to New York. So it's been a long journey. So how do you see this change? And how do you see that the vision of LiveJam change from 2005 all the way through 2020? And how did you accommodate this change?
Well, Matthew, I just got to go back to a little bit of my personal story. I was born and raised in Trivandrum City, which is one of the cities right at the tip of India. If you go a little further, you fall into the ocean, right? So yeah. Right from Trivandrum, I was born and raised up in an alcoholic home. My dad was an alcoholic. In 1993, my mom was suspected of terminal cancer. We were like in the downward spiral of anybody's life, and faith was not part of our life. We were never going to church. We thought that we could do it. We had, we were more like moving in the society, and that's when we hit a wall. And that's a time when some of our business friends came home and started sharing about Jesus and shared about hope. And that's when we saw this change happen. Next time my mom went for her checkup, they couldn't find what they suspected as cancer. God healed my mom. I had a personal change in my life seeing all this happen. And my dad looked at me and said, if my wife could be faking it, but my son, if I see the change in my son, I'm going to change as well. So that ripple effect change that started off from my whole family, my brother, started off with our family, friends, business friends. And that's really the story behind everything that we do. The message of hope is such a needed commodity in this fearful world. So that is really the starting point of the story. Now, I understood early in life that, I am so limited. I'm so very aware of the limitations that I have, but I'm also aware of the unlimited capacity of the God that I know. So for me, I'm a Christian. God changed my life, and I know that God is all powerful, all omniscient, omnipotent. So what happens is that when a guy with limited skills like me get in touch with an unlimited, all-powerful God, I know the capacity to dream. So what happened with me in my life, touching a young person like me, and through me, the family getting touched, I said, I got to take this message. I want to be in business. But I said, I want to be in the people business. I want to take this message of hope and take it to as many number of people around the world. So all that you're seeing right now, we started dreaming it, sitting with some of my friends in 2005, 2003, thinking and dreaming about filling stadiums, reaching people. Even in sitting in Trivandrum, we're thinking about reaching the world. And we used to brag about the fact that we'll be catching up in airports and we'll be catching up in different parts of the world. Lo and behold, that's what's happening right now. This message of hope that is taken from this small city now is going to 180 cities. 2.5 million young people have encountered the message of hope. Young people who are going through depression, who are going through anxiety, who are attempting or about to attempt suicide, they somehow get this message of hope through our initiatives, and their lives are changed, just like Mathews. So that's been the story. And the other element is that I started dreaming big dreams, right? When you have an encounter with this God, I understand that, I can dream big dreams. So, we call forth, I don't put a limit on what God can do through anybody's life. So that's a bit of the story here. Then I moved in I was in Trivandrum for a while, and then from there for about 5 years. Then from there, I moved to the capital of New Delhi, which is the largest, which is the hub, the capital of the largest democratic country in the world. And everything of India is controlled in New Delhi. And then from New Delhi, for being there for 10 years, we felt like we should move further. And that's how we came to New York. And here we are right now in New York, the most influential city in the world, and dreaming of taking this message to 500 cities and 25 million youth in the next 10 years.
Wow, that's just phenomenal. That's just exponential. I mean, because that is actually pretty huge. I mean, so from a guy who started from Trivandrum city or a small town that most people have not even heard of maybe in half the world, from starting from there to going to New Delhi, from there to New York. And I believe like this is going to be, after New York, there's going to be some new place that God is going to take you again. Well, yeah, it's up to God again. But yeah, I believe that.
We have Moon and Mars, bro.
Yeah, well, I'm praying and I'm hoping that you guys will get there as well. So yeah, that's how Live Jam accommodated the change. So always think big, right? So from 2005 when you guys started, so it's always think big, dream big, and there's nothing else. So you guys never put a limit to your mission or to your vision or your mission, right?
That's right. Dream big, but never estimate what God can do through one person's life. Like I'm looking at Matthew right now. I never knew the whole story until this morning that, God really touched. He was among the hundreds and thousands of kids that were sitting in front of us during that whole week, but you never knew. That's what I said. You can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can never count the number of apples that will come out of a seed. So keep sowing the seeds of hope and message of freedom to as many number of people.
Awesome. So moving on to our next question. So starting Live Jam in 2005. So a time in social media. So I think Facebook was started in 2004. And, in 2005, a time where social media and networking were just like a cocoon and not even being developed. So most people never looked at it. I think we had Orkut at that time. That's what the best I can remember. And other than that, I don't remember anything that happened. So how did you actually reach out to people? How were you able to deal with the challenges of a pre-social media and a pre-networking world?
I'll just tell you that, I just looked at it a whole lot different, because my thing was, we understood early in life that, we can, to reach more number of people, you got to go to where they are. Most people out there in business, they're trying to get people to their doorstep, but if you don't reach them where they are, you will never be able to impact their life or connect with them or develop a bridge or a connection with them. So what we did was, when we looked at social media and we said, wow, this is an amazing tool that we have in front of us. Wherever young people are, we want to go there. So we looked at it and says, Orkut, all right, let's go Facebook, let's go Instagram, Snapchat, Insta Stories, Reels, whatever, YouTube, wherever people are, we want to go to where the young people are. So we just looked at it from a very entrepreneurial capacity, and then we just stepped out into that. So we use technology to the max, and probably we're going to go all out, like an initiative that I'm just going to be part of in the next week. We are looking at reaching 20 million young people on just that one broadcast with a lot of other speakers and entertainers. And then we did some initiatives in early this year. Our footprints on our 8-month mark was 370 million footprints around the world through 8 television channels, social media, YouTube, all of those pieces.
Wow, that's just, again, exponential. I mean, see what the vision
all
can.
All that is happening in the middle of this pandemic. So I want you to know that, nothing can stop your dream. Nothing can stop you from dreaming. So dream big.
Exactly. So I think you guys actually outsourced the resources that you guys actually had, and you exploited what you guys had at that time, even though it was a pre-social media networking world. I mean, today everybody
we were giving away stickers, with our website on. Like, we had scratch codes that we would give us scratch cards to hundreds and thousands. I'm like, imagine 100,000 kids go in front of us in person, not on social media, just in person in front of us. So we used to give away these scratch cards even before people were savvy about stuff online. I felt that sometimes we were ahead of the game, that, that we didn't have the kind of traction that we wanted. We were giving away CDs that they could just play with videos and interactive content. And then we moved it online, moved it onto the cloud. So you just got to keep changing. If you stop, changing, if you stop innovating, you're going to die.
Wow, that is actually true. I mean, I think there's this very, very well known quote that an imperfect plan executed now is better than a perfect plan executed never. So yes. I think you guys just
start today. Start today.
Yeah. So all those who are listening to us, so if you guys have an idea or a dream or anything that actually you think that might be a change to this world, so start now, start planning now. Don't just plan, but I think what Bonny Andrews is actually saying is do the action part, do the verb part, do the doing thing rather than just the planning. So
I gotta say, you got to start with the plan. I'm telling you, you got to start with the plan. I'm saying, like, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
Right. You got to have a plan. You got to have a vision, and you got to start telling people about it. Not everybody, but you got to find that little team. I remember talking to a few people in, early as 2000, maybe 2001, 2002, sitting in a car porch with some of my friends, just talking about this thing, and I'm telling you, words have got power. In the Bible that I read, that says, death and life is in the power of the tongue. So what you speak, gets activated. It reaches people, and they talk about this to someone else. So finally, you find a dream team. And somebody said, if you find your people, you find your destiny.
Wow.
So keep sharing the dream. Find the dream team and get started. And I keep saying, dream big, start small, and move fast. Dream big, start small, and move fast. Because we don't have time to waste.
That's awesome.
Time is money.
Well, that is actually true what he just said. So yeah, to all those guys there, again, dream big, start small, move fast. So that's actually your mantra for this day, for the coming weeks. So moving on. So we've seen in these recent days, especially during this pandemic days, a lot of leadership conferences were emerging. A lot of people were talking so much about leadership, and I think one of the major questions that most people actually have, the youth actually have: how does one identify the gift of leadership? And how does one cultivate the gift in the long run? Because, we are in a pandemic situation, and we are not having actually a great social interaction. Everything is webinar, everything is through Zoom, or everything is through WebEx and things like that. So even though in the midst of this, how does one identify his or her leadership, and how does one cultivate the same gift?
Well, my leadership guru, John Maxwell, says leadership is about influence, nothing more, nothing less. So when you know that you have the power to influence people, I believe that everybody out there is a leader, but leadership has different capacities. But I'm saying, that you're a leader when you know that you have followers. Just telling everybody that you're a leader, and when you look back, there's nobody else following you, well, you got to check yourself. But I want to say leadership is all about influence, number one. Number two, nothing is going to stop you from investing into your own life. I'm telling you, nobody is as passionate about investing into your life as yourself. Okay. So I'm telling you, every time that there is a opportunity for you to invest in your leadership, go to a conference, read books, Leaders are readers. Don't forget that. Leaders are readers. You got to read. Tell me what you're reading at this point. You tell me what you're watching. Maybe you're not a book guy. Get on Kindle. Get on Audible. I mean, maybe watch YouTube's. I mean, I'm constantly watching interviews. I'm an interview buff because I believe stories stick in my mind far quicker than a 10-point message or 10-point PowerPoint. So I keep inspiring myself with people who have a higher dreaming capacity, a higher, leadership quotient. Constantly investing in conferences. I'm at some point or the other going through different courses, reading through different books. I'm right now part of 2 or 3 cohort programs that I'm constantly pushing the lid because I'm telling you the pace of the leader is the pace of the team, right? I can't take my team to a place that I haven't been myself, right? I can read as many number of books, but I'm telling you, I cannot take the team to a place that I haven't been myself. So that is really the bottom line.
Wow, that is actually true. All right, so that's about leadership, and that was Bonny Andrews about leadership. So, and here's the next question. Is there something, I mean, most leaders think or most entrepreneurs think, I should have done things differently, or I should have done something different over the past years. So is there anything that you think you should have done differently over the past 15 years or over your ventures?
Well, I should have done more things. I always feel like, I haven't, rephrase that question for me, Matthew, one more time.
Okay, so is there something that you believe that you should have done differently over the years with your ventures?
In some ways, yes. Some ways, no. In some ways, I feel like God has, because of my faith, I believe that every step of mine has been really ordained by the Lord. God has given me the gifting to step out. But in some of the ways, I feel like, we should have gone digital far quicker, far earlier. At some point, we were ahead of the curve. And then we looked at the results and the people were not, we were really, in front of the game, that they were not really catching up. But then we kind of slowed down. Then we feel like now we are catching up on the big wave of digital. So I felt like, we should have gone quicker, stepped out into digital far quicker and exponential way than before. But right now I feel like all our products are hot. All our initiatives are touching hundreds and literally thousands of people around the world. So I'm saying the only thing I want to keep reminding myself is I cannot stop innovating. I cannot. I keep telling people, comfort zone is dead zone, right? If you're in a comfort zone, nothing grows there, my friend. So if you're comfortable, enjoying your nice house, enjoying your job, enjoying all of that stuff, sometimes, hard things come. Right now, people are getting laid off left, right, center, but that's not going to stop you. Yesterday, you had a job, but today I would say you should become an entrepreneur, right? So I would just say that, keep innovating, keep changing, keep moving forward. Don't keep looking backward and running. I see a lot of people looking at the competition and, looking back and running. I'm saying keep running forward, keep looking forward and keep running forward. That's important piece.
So I think what you actually mean to say is keep upgrading yourself, right? Even though you're innovating, even though if it's you are a backstab.
Well, you made some mistakes, man. Tell me who has not made mistakes. But I'm telling you, you have made mistakes because you've attempted to do something.
Exactly.
Forget the guy who's sitting in the gallery and trying to, critique you. I don't really care about those people. I want to be, and tell me about the people that you're hanging out with. Find those right people. If you want to be an eagle, you got to fly with eagles. So I'm always trying to catch up and hang out with people. Like right now, some of the people that I hang out with are in their 65s. They're almost finished a major part of their life. They're in CEO, president roles. I'm constantly hanging out with those kind of people because that's where I want to be, right? That doesn't mean that I keep influencing other people. I keep, I find time for people, whoever wants to talk to me, but I have to hang out with people who are far greater in their capacity to inspire me and to learn quicker because of the mistakes that they've done. And if you develop a relationship, right, you're able to learn quicker, far greater from those kind of people.
Wow, that's exactly true. I mean, I think your calling cannot. I think this is one famous quote which says your calling cannot be cannot be committed from your comfort zone. So I think you
That's
need to
right.
step out from that circle that is actually, giving you all the comfort. And sometimes
That's right.
if you need to think big, you need to get out of your comfort zone.
That's
So
right. I
I
mean,
think,
see, I wanna appreciate Matthew because he just reached out to me. I'm telling you, sometimes you feel like, oh my goodness, what will he think? I don't really know him, whatever. And if you would have stopped doing that, now this broadcast wouldn't have gone out. So never hesitate to ask people for a cup of coffee. Never hesitate to ask people for questions. Never hesitate from, stop doing the selfie thing. Selfie's not going to take you anywhere, right? You cannot stop at selfie. The selfie should be the starting point of a conversation where you can ask questions. Ask them by saying that they like you. Then you say, can I have coffee with you next time you're here? Maybe can we have a conversation once in 3 months? They're like, oh, Meg, that's no problem. From 3 months, it will go down to 1 month. And now you know that you have a coaching or a mentoring relationship with these people. So, I am unashamed about asking people for things. If you don't ask, leaders make the big ask. If you don't ask, you don't receive.
wow, that is exactly true. I mean, yeah, because even though I was pretty hesitant to actually approach you in the beginning. So I was like, okay, I mean, is it going to be directly? I mean, so I actually asked my mentor, Jason. So, I mean, he said like, no, you go ahead and ask him. So I was like, okay, fine. Yeah, I'm going to ask him. So I just prayed about it and I was like, yeah, hey, this is Matthew. So I just went ahead and asked him. And so, I mean, that is one of the main reasons, like so many people are going to be influenced by your message, by what you actually did, and by what God did through you is going to be inspired through even more people around this world. I mean, around our community.
That's right. The vision is always going to be bigger than the visionary, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Your vision is always going to be bigger than your friends on your speed dial list. Back in the day, in from where we come from, every young guy wanted to get married to a rich girl, because they thought that their life is going to be set. Because you have a great start, we have going to get some dowry. For all those people who don't know what that is about, it's very cultural, where the girl side of the family has to give a big sum of money, property, whatever that is. It's not inheritance. It's actually something that you demand. But I knew that no father-in-law can pay for the dreams that I have. So nobody that I knew could pay for it. I'm looking at the speed dial. I cannot. So what I'm doing it because of the vision. I'm so consumed by the vision. I'm always going out and asking people. I'm always trying to meet people and meet the right people. Sometimes, that's what I say. I pray in the morning and say, God, lead me to the right people. Because, the wrong people can suck the juice out of you, waste time. Why? I used to be in a season where I used to be, throwing business cards everywhere and trying to meet people. Then I'm like, I'm right now in the season where I'm feeling, God, lead me to the right people. So, and I said, God, I don't want to be busy, but I want to be fruitful. So my calendars have got room for my family. My calendars have got room for people. But I still keep meeting up with the right people because I made that prayer. God, I don't want to be busy, but I want to be fruitful.
Wow, that's something that is very inspirational. I mean, I think like people actually need a vision. I mean, because a man without a vision perishes.
Vision is your future. If you do not have a vision, you don't have a future.
Wow. I mean, I think I'm reminded by one of the stories that I actually read a few years back in this particular book called The Principles of Power and Vision by Dr.
Yes.
Miles Monroe. And
Yes.
I was reading the story about Walt Disney. And Walt Disney was staring at a mountain, and one of his employee comes and asks him, "Okay, what are you looking at?" I'm like, "Okay, I see a new ride over there." And the employee says, like, "No, I'm not seeing anything. That's just a mountain, Walt Disney. There's nothing there." But Walt Disney actually died before that ride actually came to place. But still, that vision was that he saw it to completion rather than before his employees or the ones with him. So his vision was executed in the long run by the people who were with him. So I think vision is like more like where you want to be, where you see where you want to be. And I think that is one of the main things that Live Jam has, because Live Jam has a broad blueprint about what they want their future to be. And I think like you guys have this 25 million, you guys want to influence 25 million youth by the year 2030, right?
I think we're going to rewrite that very shortly because, with some of our initiatives right now, we are reaching out to so many more people than we thought it would be. But we want to really impact, I'm probably thinking we're going to rewrite it. But at this point, it's 500 cities. We're in about 180. But I believe that New York is such a positional. See, every city that you're part of, it really matters. When I was in Trivandrum, we were in about 3 cities, When I came to New Delhi, we moved to 180 cities on a global scope. because every city has got power. Positioning is very important. Where you are is important. People might differ with my thought, but when I came to New York is a modern day Rome, right? And it has got the capacity. I don't have to go looking out for nations that are around us. Over 800 languages are being just spoken in New York City. If I go into a subway, 48% of the people are speaking another language. So I don't have to keep looking out for initiatives and looking out for nations that are already here. I'm on an initiative right now called Unite the Nations. We're going to gather 100 nations by next Easter right here in New York City and put an initiative together, bring people together. So I'm saying like we're all over the place. Yeah, keep vision is your future.
Yeah, I think because you are positioned in New York. New York is like it's like one of the greatest cities on the planet Earth, and it's also one of the largest cities in the world as well. And it's more than that. It is a fusion of cultures. I mean, you wanted Indian, you wanted Italian, you wanted a Malaysian, Australian. I mean, any country you can find it over in New York, and that is one of
that's where they have the United Nations here. It is a fashion capital. You talk about out of the hundreds and thousands of brands, there maybe 2 or 3 are in Paris. Everything else, all of my favorite brands are out of New York City. It is the financial hub. It is the United Nations are here. By the way, I disciple a lot of leaders inside the United Nations on a weekly basis. So I have an access into the United Nations where talking to diplomats. In fact, after this, I have jumping in a call, talking to a diplomat. So I'm saying we are constantly in touch. This is really the most influential, arguably the most influential city. Finance, business, capital, entertainment, Madison Square Garden is right here. My dream is soon to fill Madison Square Garden. It's right in zip code number 1. And we want to fill that. So I want to invite you for that, Matthew.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll book my tickets right away. So. All right. So that's Bonny Andrews sharing about his vision and how his vision from Trivandrum to New Delhi to New York, and now that has been an exponential, and how he actually had this vision to set apart to influence 25 million by the year 2030, and now he's planning to expand it. I mean, that is exactly vision. And to the people who are listening to us right now, that is how you expand your vision, and that's how you improvise with each step. That's how you move fast, even though you start small or you dream big, but you move fast and you expand your vision. And so here's one more question that I have for you. I have seen in these recent times, especially from the pandemic, since the pandemic hit, and since we all went into lockdown and work from home phase, a lot of people has come up with a lot of creative initiatives. I mean, I have seen, there's this particular friend of mine who's actually based in the city of Cochin, who actually started doing fancy cakes. So it's actually, so all she does is she cooks it from her home. She does fancy cakes. And there are some other people who are actually here too, who I seen have done things differently. And, they all have this particular vision. And what is the one message that you want to tell someone who has a vision and who's actually doing something differently right now?
Don't waste a good crisis. It's by Winston Churchill. One of my favorite quotes in this season is, don't waste a good crisis. A crisis for somebody is an opportunity for you. So step into that opportunity. Stop looking down. Start looking up. Look at the opportunities and say that, hey, there is an opportunity right there. So in the middle of this pandemic, domestic violence has gone almost by, it's doubled, right? Depression rates are doubled. People are hopeless more than ever before. So we started this initiative called Here to Here, which is an online chat mechanism. You can go to this website called IamHereToHear.here, H-E-R-E to H-E-A-R, heretohere.org. It's an online chat mechanism where people, I'm getting notified like hundreds of people every day are going to that website, and there are chat agents, volunteers available at the end to chat with you. Because 80% of the people are depressed when they go to a psychiatrist or a counselor. They want somebody to listen to them, and less than 20% actually need medical help. So what we have done is we've created this chat platform. We also created this training program that anybody, right? You don't even have to be a professional. Anybody can be trained to become a listener, because you're going to be around people and you're going to be taught the art of listening, so that when you're around people, you're going to listen to them and you're going to lead them to change and hope. So that's been something that we've been doing. We're literally touching hundreds and thousands of people at this point because of this particular initiative called I'm Here to Hear. That's really come out of this pandemic. The other one was the New York Blessing, bringing in 100 churches, 125 voices, 8 languages out of New York City, right in the middle of pandemic, out of New York, which was the COVID hub. 600 people dying every day, right? That was the context of when this song came out, and now it's reached over 500,000 people. Some of the most influential people in the Christian world in the U.S. Franklin Graham, son of Billy Graham, shared it, personally endorsed and shared it. 25,000 shares just because of one post. Christianity Today and BC. A lot of these people have done interviews and put it on their mediums and talked about this initiative. But all that happened in the middle of a pandemic where I was getting on a ferry. And for me, because of I'm a Christian, I was praying over, I'm looking at the greatest city on the face of the planet that's shut down. I'm in New York City, shut down, and I'm praying over that city, and this idea came, and I did it. In the middle of this pandemic, I also partnered, and I got an opportunity to sing with, really one of the most influential women in Africa, called Sinat. She wrote this song called Waymaker. It's hit about 500 million views. It's probably one of the most amazing songs. It was Billboard top 10 charts for many weeks in America. And we partnered on a song together called Always Win. And that's reached about another 500,000 people. And a new album is coming out. She's rated as the top 100 influential women in Africa. So all these, in the middle of this lockdown, when I'm saying, God, I got to still reach more people. There's opportunity out there. God keeps throwing in those opportunities.
Wow. I mean, that is amazing. I mean, I heard of the New York Blessing, and I also heard of this, the one that you had with Sinash about the song. And I actually saw that it was actually beautiful. I mean, the things that you actually did, and all this started, I mean, the greatest part is that all this started back in 2000s from a guy who actually had a vision, and from over the years, over this 2 decades, God actually broadened your vision and actually made you do things bigger. And I think that is what our generation needs, especially my generation, where we are actually we are so sick. We are always so sick towards our Instagram feed or Facebook feed, and we are all the time over that. And I think we need to start to think big. And most people actually have this issue, and we are all content with what we want, and we tend to stick into our comfort zones. But rather, I think we need to think big, and I think that is what Bonny Andrews was telling. And his story is actually a great one, because it all started in the 2000s when there was no Facebook, no Instagram, or no iPhone, or no Samsung S20, S10, nothing. And when everything was starting, I mean, when we used to have the Nokia 3310, the old one, right, and we used to play the snake games in that.
When we had a Nokia 3310, I used to send independent messages to people. Okay,
wow.
One by one, sending messages, and all those people that I send messages to, they are doing so well. Their lives have been transformed. So whatever you have, don't tell me that I wish I had something else. You know, when we started off, we had a laptop, that screen was, falling up and down. I had to put a book at the back. It was somebody's handed over laptop. That's all we had. Okay. So don't say, I wish I had more. No, there's enough in your hands today to start off. Okay. If it's your phone, you have the greatest. We have some of the best mechanisms in our hand right now. It's more powerful than some of those computers out there. Whatever you have in your hand, get started. Yeah. I'm telling you, for me, I knew exactly what my limitations are, but my faith in my Savior Jesus made me feel that I can do all things through Christ, the Bible says. So I felt like, man, nothing's going to stop me. Nothing's going to pull me down. Well, there are moments that I feel discouraged. There are moments and that's when you need people. I'm married to the most amazing person in the world. So one will chase 1,000, two will chase 1,000. People that God brings in your life to encourage yourself, to believe in yourself, to keep moving forward. And my faith has played a huge role. So for all those young people, listen to me. Start dreaming big dreams, because we serve a big God. Don't look at your limitations and limit yourself and start looking down. Start looking up and start running. All right? Because nothing is going to happen with you sitting on that bed and looking at the screen. I'm telling you, many times I've deleted the Instagram app. I've deleted the Facebook app because it's sucking the time out of my life with nothing. It's not helping me in any way, but just taking time away from my life, taking quality time from my family. So I've deleted sometimes. I've even told my wife to change the password, so I don't even have to go back again. So I'm just trying to say that you got to be creative. You got to be disciplined, and you got to start running. You got to start moving, start sharing that vision. Thousands of people are waiting to be touched because of one thing that you're about to do. Start today.
Wow, that is inspirational. That is so much it's actually pumped. It's got me all pumped up. So I'm like, okay, that is like,
that's it, bro.
I mean,
That's it.
that's it. I mean, that's the vision. That's the vision of Bonny Andrews. That's the vision of Live Jam. That's the vision of Transform Cities. And you just heard the man and the one who actually brought so much change into our world. And he's been speaking to a global audience through many locations in the world, to many cities, to many countries, and how God has used this particular man of God. It's truly amazing. The vision that God has given and the vision that he actually said, how he started the live stream on a laptop with just balancing his book. I mean, he exploited his resources. Even though, I mean, most times if it's any of us, or if it's even me, I would actually, I need a new laptop. So the first thing that I would go is like, okay, check what is the next best option. But rather, he actually went there and he actually said, okay, how can I use this particular option? And the perspective that he had about how to work things out. And that is what amuses me. That's what amazes me. And that is the story of Bonny Andrews. So thank you so much, Bonny Andrews, for this session, because this is majestic, and this is truly I don't have words to describe.
This is a great start for your podcast. All I can say is this is a great start for your podcast. You're starting off. You got to take it up right now.
Yeah.
You're inspiring people to dream. You're inspiring people to believe in the dream giver, right? Which is God Himself. And you keep running, keep focusing, keep moving forward.
Thank you so much. I will definitely tell that to my team also. We have a team working together for this, like a 6 of us. So we're doing different stuff. So one of them do content editing. Some of them do the audio part. Some of them do the posters and all those things. So I do have a team with them. So I will definitely share this vision with them. Yeah, they were all excited. I mean, when I told them like, okay, the first, I actually told them like I got my team around last month in August 15th. So I got them together and I told them like, okay, this is what I want to do. And they were like, okay, who are you planning? So I was like, okay, I think I'll take Bonny Andrews. So they were like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. So, so for a while, and after like, when I told them like, okay, we have Bonny Andrews, so we are recording today. I told them yesterday evening and they were like, that is so awesome. They were more pumped up than me, because when they knew that you were ready. So yes, that is actually, so ladies and gentlemen.
Partner with us, partner with what we're doing back home. We are literally taking young people from the pit of hell and taking them to heaven. So let's partner together. Let's work together to bring heaven on earth.
Sure. So if you guys want to check out about Live Jam, Bonny Andrews, or Here to Here or Transform Cities, all the links will be posted in the podcast description. So the episode description. So go ahead and check that out. Or you can also check us out on Instagram, where we'll be tagging all these ventures of Bonny Andrews and himself. So make sure you guys go ahead and check it out. And if you see you
can volunteer with us. You can financially partner with us, because everything that we do needs resources to reach more young people. You can partner with us financially. We're a non-profit, so you get all the benefits of putting donations in any part of the world. And on top of that, you can volunteer with us. Come and see what we're doing in New York. Come and see what we're doing in different parts of the world, in India, and be a part of what God is doing.
Wow, yes. So you guys heard the man. So make sure that if there's anybody who you feel like is facing depression or mental issues or mental health or having a mental breakdown, do share these pages with them. So it might be a breakthrough in their life as well. So please.
Here to hear.org. I am here to hear.org.
Yeah, the link will be put up in the podcast episode description. So make sure you guys check it out. So that was Bonny Andrews. Thank you so much, Bonny Andrews, once again for giving that power pumped session which actually helped us inspire more, dream more, actually, and do things more. So thank you so much. And that was amazing. Yeah, God bless you too as well. And to all those
live
you guys.
Live out loud.
Yeah, so yeah, he just changed the description of LOL from laugh out loud to live out loud. So LOL. So no longer means laugh out loud. It's always going to be live out loud. So guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Bonny Andrews, once again. And we hope that this is going to inspire you, this session, this episode, whoever is listening to us. And we hope that you follow your passion, you follow your dream, you follow your vision. And if you actually come up with it, if you see some hurdles on the way, do not hesitate to reach out, as our information is given in the description as well. So thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for more episodes. We're going to feature more and more people in these days. And thank you so much once again, and have a great day. Have a great week ahead.